Let's move on now to our fourth main topic today. And our fourth main topic today comes to us from Omar 94, who writes, I was reading a story about Dark Phoenix with Tye Sheridan saying that Skrulls originally appeared and the final battle was at the UN. Then rewrites and reshoots happened. I know those are common, but why do they keep happening? Shouldn't studios, producers, directors, screenwriters, etc. have agreed to what film to make first? Then you wouldn't have to have rewrites and reshoots afterwards. All right. Thanks a lot for the question, Omar. And yes, X-Men Dark Phoenix, which is not the train wreck some people make it out to be, but also not very good. Anyway, it is the latest big movie to come out that had gone through some rewrites and gone through some reshoots. Well, why does this happen? Why do reshoots happen? Why do rewrites happen? I mean, if studios and directors and the writers get together and they all agree on what kind of movie they want to make, shouldn't that then be it? Shouldn't that be the end of the story? Why are there reshoots? Why are there rewrites? I think the best way to look at it, Omar, is to look at it from the terms of, let's say, home decoration. Let's go with that one. Let's go with home decor and having an interior designer come into your house, all right? You see, you can in theory go, I want something bold. And your designer says, okay, well, here's something bold. And they sketch something out and it's like, let's go with like a neon green feature wall. And we'll juxtapose that with a matte gray on the opposing wall to really make the neon green pop. And you look at it in sketches and together you look at it and you go, yeah, this is different and bold. And I think I'm going to love this, right? Okay. We've all had situations like this where we like, yeah, let's paint this, or do whatever. And we, in our heads, and maybe even if we sketch it out, we think this is going to look great, right? But then the designer comes in and paints the feature wall. And now you're in there, now you're physically in your house. See, it's different. Theoretically, it's different from reality. Theoretical is different from reality. And in the theoretical, in the meetings with your designer, you're like, oh yeah, I mean, yeah, that neon green on that wall is going to look great. And you see a sketch, yeah, but that's a different experience than when you're actually physically standing in your house and looking at a damn neon green wall juxtaposed against a matte gray wall. And all of a sudden, what theoretically works so well in your head, you're realizing, that was a great idea, but it's not working for me. So you and your interior designer go through your own set of rewrites. Okay, let's stop painting those walls. What else can we do? Because in theory, we had our idea and it worked in our heads and it worked on the laptop monitor, but now that we're standing here, we're realizing it doesn't quite work for us. So you go back and you try something different. You order a new couch and you're thinking, oh, that couch is going to look great there. And then the delivery guys bring the couch and they put it there. And now that it's there, you go, you know what? It does look good there, but practically speaking, it doesn't work with where I've got the TV. What if we nudge the TV that way and then move that couch over here? Then you do it. Like, we've all been there, right? Again, it's the difference. I'm going to keep hammering on this point. It's the difference between the theoretical and the reality. And you can, as filmmakers and producers and all that kind of stuff, you can come up with ideas, you can script it out, and you can go, yes, this is great. But then a little bit later in the writing stages, what if somebody comes up with a different idea? It's like, hey, you know how in Act 2, Scene 5 at the restaurant where we had this happen? I just thought of this. What happens if this happened? Oh my God, yeah. And then you get together, you make agreements, or you realize, you know what? The main juxt of this was this, and we all liked it, but now I'm feeling uncomfortable with it for these reasons, and we're not supposed to start shooting for another year anyway. Hey, let's change the idea. Let's take another pass on this. Let's do a rewrite. It happens because there's a difference between the theoretical and the reality. As far as reshoots go, it's even more dominant because even in the screenplay process, the screenplay and the script is a theoretical item. You've got your screenplay, you've got your script, and it's like, oh yeah, and you're seeing it play out in your head, and you've even got storyboards for it, and you're looking at these storyboards, and you see it playing out in your head, and you're like, oh my God, this is great. But then, as Quentin Tarantino has said, it ain't until you're in that editing suite that you really start to see what your movie is. It's not until you're sitting, you've been on set, you shot it, you thought everything is great, but it's not until you're in that editing suite that you really start to see what you've got. It's again the difference between the theoretical and the reality. Kevin Feige, as a matter of fact, the of course head honcho of all things Marvel films, Kevin Feige talked once about reshoots. And reshoots, they're so important to Kevin Feige now that they actually plan in advance reshoots. Like even before they start shooting a movie, they plan their shooting schedule and then they block off a big set of time to do reshoots because Kevin Feige says we always do reshoots, so we might as well plan them in advance. Well, why does Kevin Feige need to do reshoots on Marvel movies? Here's what Kevin Feige had to say, and this was 4 years ago. He said this. He said, additional photography, reshoots, is invaluable. Sometimes it's to fix something that's not working, but most of the time on our movies, it's twofold. Sometimes a better or more exciting idea will come along, or more often, something will come out of the movie that because it's too long or the movie is stronger without a particular beat or scene or shot, you need to shoot something that becomes connective tissue. So basically what Kevin Feige here is saying is that, hey, yeah, we start shooting our movie when we theoretically have everything lined up. We got our storyboards, our script, we're totally happy with the movie we're making. But we've done this enough times to know that once we start looking at the dailies and start piecing some cuts together, it may feel a little bit different. Or we might be on set, we're filled with creative professionals. We're gonna come up with better ideas for a shot or a scene and go, yeah, that would have been even better. Let's do it. Or we realize, hey, you know what? This movie's gonna be better if we take that scene out. But if we take that scene out, we got nothing to connect A to C. We need another scene that's going to be a little bit of connective tissue. So let's go do that in additional photography or reshoots, right? So they plan it all in advance. So again, for me, it's a great question asking why, hey, if you put all this planning into it and you know the movie you want to make and blah, 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 why do rewrites and reshoots happen? Because these creative professionals know that there is a difference between the theoretical and the reality of once you actually start looking at it. And not all movies have the budgets to do any sorts of reshoots or the schedule that they can do rewrites, and they just have to do the best that they can. A lot of the bigger movies today, including all MCU movies, all Star Wars movies, whatever, they actually now plan their reshoots in advance. That's why it's becoming so prominent. And for the most part, it makes films better. Sometimes it doesn't, but a lot of times it does. So that's why we got them. Anyway, what do you guys think about all that? Jump down to the comment section below and leave me your thoughts.